Happy Sunday, everybody. I'm here with some free tea. This is an Earl Grey, and I'm here on this beautiful Sunday morning. It is so gorgeous today. It's not too hot, not too cold. I'm truly in love with the weather. And I'm very excited to chat with something that's like really close to my heart. I wanted to come here and talk about chosen family and having a chosen family and what that means for me and things that I've been very fortunate of and lucky to be able to experience, in these last few years. I think family is a very hard topic to come by, and it's a very sensitive topic. And I understand, if you're watching this and family is not that topic for you, then that's definitely okay to just click on the video. But these last few weeks especially, it was like a wave of gratitude that came over me when I was meditating on my chosen family and everything that I had to go through in order to have this family that I do have, and can proudly say, honestly, that I have. 2 years ago, for example, 3 years ago, I was more connected with my birth family, the people who've brought me into this world and all of that stuff. And I had not the best relationship with my family. Not that they're terrible people or bad people. They've done things that are, not so nice. Done things that are not kind of them to do and say. But where I'm at right now, in this moment, I feel like I'm in a better place to reflect on my birth family, and I'm in a more secure place right now to be even more thankful for the chosen family that I do have. For me, what I understand, and I like to mix this in with astrology, because I think all these different tools like astrology, numerology, and all these different religions and things like that, human design even, I personally believe these are all just tools from the divine, from God, whichever name you want to use or don't want to use. I feel like these are just all tools to help us navigate life on this planet and in this dimension. And you can take whatever tool you want. It's free for you to take, whichever one's going to help you navigate life and understand life better. That's how I see things. So if one tool like astrology doesn't work for you, then just leave it. If human design works for you, take it. If this religion works for you, take it. If it doesn't, then don't take it. I don't think everything has to be one way per se, because we're all on this different journey. So I was really thinking about, after having a really great heart-to-heart conversation with one of my good friends, her name is August, and another of to be honest, my family at this point, Lindsay, who I mentioned in a previous video. She used to be my mentor when I lived at Covenant House. And having these two reflections last weekend during a Capricorn full moon, which was hectic to say the least, but very therapeutic. I have a Capricorn moon, so really went inward to deal with my emotions. And I was talking to both of them where I didn't have the best family. They're not terrible people, but I didn't have the best family or the family dynamic. I don't want to get into the nitty gritty, but once my mom kicked me out and I, exposed and shared a lot of truth that was happening when I was growing up as a kid and things that led up in my later teens, and sharing that with my extended family, my birth family, and having that rejection in such a harsh way where it felt like I was a scapegoat for them, and I was kind of just living in my mom's world, because that's what it felt like for a very long time. It felt like no matter what I said or did, if it wasn't in my mom's view or the way she wanted me to be perceived by other people, then whatever I have to say is garbage. It has to align with this image she has for me, which was like a monster. Like, she saw me as like a monster, saw me as like in her words, like a terrible person. I'm a bad person. And that was the image she wanted my family to see of me, that I was a very mentally ill monster, bad person, and that she worked so hard to deal with me, basically, which is really far from the truth. But she wanted that to be portrayed, so everything else that she was doing and allowing can be seen as, oh my gosh, like, she's going through so much, like, that's what she kind of wanted. Oh, look, I don't know if you can see that cute bird over there. Yeah, anyways. So I lived with that, and when I finally exposed some truth and I shared, and hearing certain things come back to me, for me, it was that confirmation of like, do you want to keep living a life like this? Do you still want people to speak about you, see you in this way? Do you still want that? And like I said, when I was exposing those truths and sharing with like people who were like, oh my gosh, Kendra, I can't believe that happened, like, I was so lost and surprised, and then see them switch overnight and be like, you're such a liar, you're such a bad person, and it's like, what? I just told you all this terrible things that happened, and now it's like, okay, I understand, I was the scapegoat, and that is okay. It was easier for them to switch blame or to hurt the victim or anything like that. It was easier for them to do that because then they don't have to come into terms with like, oh shit, this is actually a really messed up thing that happened, right? And that's okay. That is okay. I used to really want them to validate that, but validate it for what? If they don't are at that space to understand what happens and speak up for what is right and what is wrong, then why should I seek that validation? Validation from people where my love is conditional. The way they love me is conditional. So if I don't play this role that they want me to play, and I don't want to be silent, then they're not going to love me or anything like that. Then why should I seek that from other people? And especially like once my mom like kicked me out and I had no other place to go. Like my birth family was never the type of people to welcome you with open arms freely if you were struggling. They would be like, okay, if I'm helping you in this way, well, you owe me. You owe me. You have to figure out how you're going to owe me back, but you owe me. And that was the mindset my family had. And like I said, I'm not going to go into other details, but once I was kicked out and I saw my family for what they were objectively, like letting go of these titles of your mom, your sister, your brother, your uncle, aunt, all these, and grandma, all these labels, and I'm like, let me just see you as a person. Let me just analyze how you interact with as a person. Do I want to accept really and truly this disrespect? And this was easier for me to do once I was living in a shelter and I was surrounded by social workers and I had an amazing therapist. And she even encouraged me, my therapist at the time, encouraged me like, how do you see them as a person? When we have people in our lives, right? And they're not at the level that we're at, right? They're here, they're gonna meet you here, and you're up here. So are you willing to bring down your standards or bring yourself down in a certain way to meet them halfway or go all the way down to their level? You have to choose, like, are you okay with having a parent that does X, Y, and Z? They're at this limitation. Can you accept them at that limitation? And I personally realized I can't accept them at their limitation. I think I went down so much to meet them where they're at, or even opening conversations to be like, okay, can you guys meet me halfway? And none of that was being met. Like, none of that. And I had to realize, like, do I want to continue this type of relationship where they're not listening, don't want to meet me halfway, and I am getting so exhausted meeting them where they're at. And even when I meet them halfway, they're still, if I meet them halfway here, they're still down here in terms of like emotional supports, physical supports, and just their limitations of understanding the world and me, essentially. And I realized, no, I can't accept them where they're at. And that's not wrong for me to not accept them where they're at. And I didn't want to meet them halfway no more. And I didn't want to meet them where they're at. So that meant for me closing that door. And so I did. Closing that door was the most freeing thing I could have done for myself. Because once I closed that door and I was selective of, you know what, you don't treat me right, you don't talk to me right, and I'm not going to continue to try to teach you how to do that. I don't want to. I simply don't want to. And now that I was so detached physically away from these supports, and they weren't trying to like help me out in any way when I was living in the shelter, it's like, why do I need this so-called love from them or anything from them? I truly don't need that from them. And when I let go of that, I saw and felt and realized that the universe, God, divine, will always support you and bring you what you need. I remember this one verse, I might be like repeating it wrong, but it was in the Bible, something that I really loved growing up as a kid. It's like, when my mother and father forsake me, for the Lord God will take care of me. Meaning, and loosely, like I'm not quoting it verse by verse, but it's like God, you know, even in Christianity, understands that sometimes we're dealt with certain family, parents who can't support us fully and who can't be there for us. Like, they have their own limitations. But God will fill those gaps. And God filled those gaps for me, connected me with a mentor who took me in as family, saw me as me before I could even see myself. And that's when I realized being loved in such a pure and unconditional way from my mentor and her family, seeing that and feeling that, experiencing that, I was like, I'm not going back to any other love less than this. There is no way I'm going to experience love less than this. When somebody's right there, gonna love me purely and unconditionally and see me for who I am before I can even see myself. Because my self-worth was so low because of my family, I had to work so hard in therapy with my mentor to actually see myself. To actually see myself as a loving person. That was a challenge, you know, and yeah. And when I was talking to one of my good friends last weekend in the morning, I was like, you know what? I'm in such a better place where I think now I can actually forgive my family. You know, we focus so much on forgive now. You need to forgive now. It's like, no, the pain is still there. I have to work through it. I have to go through the grieving process of what I thought a family was supposed to be, or what I thought they were supposed to be. You know, I had to grieve that still, and on my term and in my way. I need to go through all the stages of grief. And now I can proudly say I have forgiven them. I forgive them because I needed, and this is through my experience, this is what I believe from my lived experience. I had to go through all of that with that type of family. Literally go through terrible stuff. Experience that, know what the worst is like. And then now get the opportunity to have the complete opposite, so that I can recognize what love is and what love isn't, what it's supposed to feel like and what it's supposed to not feel like. I had to go through the worst in order to experience the best, you know. And I feel so safe to say that because I don't have to go back to that family. I don't have to receive their calls anymore. I don't have to see them for awkward dinners and pretend everything is okay when it's not. Like, I don't have to ever go back there. So that's why I feel so freeing now to be with my chosen family. The people who I can truly say are going to be there for me. Like, I can proudly say that now. I have people that if I needed help, they'll be there in a blink of an eye. They won't ask me, okay, what are you going to do for me then if I help you in this way? I don't have to experience that anymore. I can truly experience love now. So, went from experiencing terrible, yucky stuff, had to experience the whole polar opposite of what I have right now. Because now I can appreciate this love. And I'm learning still how to appreciate this love and be thankful for this love that I built this family, like a true family dynamic for myself. And that, my heart grows, literally grows. I never have to question my self-worth when I'm around them, because the encouragement that I get from my chosen family is nothing that I experienced growing up as a child. Nothing like it. I've never heard any negative thing from my chosen family. They never said anything negative to me, ever. Pure encouragement, pure love, pure joy, pure light. And when I was telling my friend, I forgive them, because I'm in a safe space to forgive them. And I never, ever, ever have to experience what I did as a child, ever again. So I truly forgive them, because it's over. It's over. So that's where my forgiveness comes from, and I went, later that night to visit, like I said, my chosen family, and my friend is part of that chosen family. I see them like as a sister. And I saw Lindsay and the family that I'm allowed to be a part of, that I am a part of. And I was expressing that to Lindsay, and she's like, yeah, sometimes we have to experience polarizing things in our journey. You might have to experience the worst of the worst to experience the best of the best. Totally polarizing things in our lives. And I can say, yeah, I did experience that with family. And when I look at my birth chart, and I was explaining that to Lindsay, my North Node is in Cancer. My life lesson in this lifetime is family dynamics, and the family unit, the nurturing side, the loving side, everything that Cancer represents. Like in this lifetime, I have to experience that, right? Because that's what the North Node means. Like, what lessons you have to learn in this lifetime, because my South Node, which is in Cancer, they say when you have your South Node in Cancer, in a past life, you were very businesslike, you were very, detached from family. So I have to experience the polar opposite. And that's what I experienced in the beginning stages of my life on this earth. Polar opposite. And it's even funnier because my moon is in Capricorn. And I have this thing where it's easy for me to detach. That's why it was easy to detach from my birth family, because it's like I'm no longer taking disrespect, so it's overdone, cut ties, feel nothing. And that's why it's so easy for me with the Capricorn moon. And I know I have to be careful, and that's why I think my chart was designed perfectly for the life lessons I need to experience. Because if in this lifetime I need to experience the family unit and being in harmony with that, and that dealing with being nurturing and family love and that kind of warm stuff, and I think of like Cancer energy, I have to learn that. But then I need to make sure I'm balancing that with my Capricorn moon, because if I lose sight of what I need to experience and feel, I'll be able to detach easy, focus on work easy, and just go completely mute from loved ones. And that is an easy trait for me personally. That's why I'm working so hard to be around people that love me and people I care about. It's an active choice every day where I'm like, I can be alone for this whole week, but it's like, no, let me actually reach out to my loved ones and hang out with them and spend quality time. So when I was hanging out with Lindsay that night, last weekend, I felt so warm. I felt like I was at grandma's house with fresh baked cookies kind of vibe. Because we started listening, first we started watching home videos, like their home videos from, the 90s when like Lindsay was like a teen and all of this stuff, and watching that, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. Like I felt that connection again deeper. Like this is my family. And after that, watching home videos and sharing in that love with them, and we started listening to a whole bunch of 90s music, like real good soulful music, even some 70s music up in there, like just listening to like legit soulful music. And all of us were just vibing. Lindsay was, fixing up and coloring some of these beautiful words to pass around to people. And I'm just sitting there, my eyes closed, enjoying the music, sitting on the couch. And her mom was just sitting there enjoying the music on the couch too, on her phone. And everybody was just marinating in this music, and in this, the whole place felt so lifted up by love. If you've ever been in a place where everything is lifted up by love, where you feel no judgment for how you're sitting or how you're looking or how you're vibing, I want everybody to feel that. To be able to just sit in the presence of everybody else. Everybody's doing their own thing in their own worlds, but yet we're in one world together. Now that type of feeling is such ooey gooey warmth. It's a hug. The room felt like a big fat hug. Big fat hug. And when I left, that's when I was like, also like, wow, I am so grateful to have a chosen family. I am so grateful that even when I didn't know who was going to be in my chosen family, I had no idea what they're going to look like, but I knew what I needed to feel like. And the universe orchestrated all of this beauty to come and happen. Everything was orchestrated perfectly. And wherever you are too, like if you also feel like this is the family, my birth family is just not the right one for me, hold that faith, because the faith is the bridging point to where you need to be, of the knowing. Hold that faith that you will find and be surrounded by people who see you, people who truly see you and love you unconditionally. That is agape love. And I learned that growing up in the church. Like agape love is that pure, unconditional, unwavering love, divine love that they like to say that God has for us. But we should all have that for everybody else as well. Hold on to that faith, because when you least expect it, your chosen family is going to start appearing, and you need to make sure that your eyes are ready to be opened, your heart is ready to be opened, your mind is ready to be opened to receiving this love. I even was able to, work with a fitness coach to help me lose like my first 30 pounds. And now she's also part of my chosen family as well. Unexpectedly as well. She saw me. So now she's also a part of my family too. And my family is growing and growing. I met somebody else when I was working at a ballet school, when I was in security. And she is now like my sister. She is my older sister now. The way our relationship has been able to bloom, like I see her as an older sister. So my whole unit, my chosen family, I have that. I don't deal with drama. I don't deal with any type of drama or negativity from my chosen family, because we live in that pure love and pure acceptance. And that is what a chosen family is. And I see them for them. I love them for them. So don't limit yourself when it comes to love. Don't limit yourself when it comes to how you want to be respected. Because the right people are going to see you for you. The right people are going to respect you for you. You will never need to change. They will bring out the light that is in you. That's who you need to look for. Don't accept anything less than that. Nothing, never. And I want everybody to experience the love that I've been able to experience. Because that is pure love. That is, I hear so many other stories too of people being with people who literally, like, it seems like they hate them. You don't, and the truth is, you don't have to have that life. You can choose different, and I have that chosen family because I decided that I want to be truly loved for me, and I'll never go back, and I'll never, ever receive less than that. And I hope you can find like your chosen family too, because once you do, no going back. Yeah. Happy Sunday.